hungover and just needed some time to rest, so I decided not to go to the cemetery.
Got it.
We're live?
Should be live now.
All right,
Hopefully
let's check on cam. You got a link to send out to the people?
Oh, that would be good. Yes, I can confirm we're going.
All right,
There we are.
perfect.
Post the link.
What are you drinking over there, Abby?
Some champagne.
Yeah?
I was just in the mood. I left work today.
Celebrate.
Feeling like champagne.
Every day is a celebration.
Survivor starts tonight.
Yeah, we're
so
celebrating.
Let's get ready to rumble.
I love it.
Yeah.
I recently learned about a cocktail called Black Velvet, which is a stout mixed with champagne, and I really want to try it.
Ew.
That
I
sounds
know.
fucking terrible.
Gotta try it.
Who makes it?
And anyone?
Oh, you can just make it.
So
Yeah.
it's just any stout, any champagne.
I think Guinness is the
Okay,
go-to,
that's
but
probably a good idea.
I'm trying to come up with some beer cocktails for Azadi, and I want to try a Black Velvet Kodak.
Is that like the new thing? Beer cocktails, do you think? That's where the industry's headed?
No, the industry's headed toward ready-to-drink cocktails, not beer cocktails.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Like,
High Noons.
yeah,
Mhm.
and those things that Libby drinks.
She, what?
It's got like a whole...
Cutwater?
Yeah, that one.
What's it called?
Cutwater. They make like mules and margaritas just in
yeah.
a can.
Yeah.
I can't drink them anymore
Why not?
because I blacked out one night.
Yeah.
And now I can't.
Tell me about that night.
Can't tell you about it.
Because you blacked out.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Tony can.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can either. I don't... What night was that?
Then
Let's just go hour by
Yeah.
hour.
Mhm.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember what
So you
night
guys
it
went to Oktoberfest this weekend.
We did.
Right. Tell me about that.
was. Ubers are really expensive these days.
Yeah.
They're also hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
And Lyft is even worse when it comes to getting one because Lyft does this cool thing where you hit request and it'll tell you like, we're going to find one, we promise. And then you just sit there for ever waiting for one. And it'll say, oh, Thomas is coming to get you. And then 5 minutes later, Thomas fucks off. And you're back to this like loading screen where it's just waiting for a
we
driver.
had good luck with Lyft in New Orleans. 2 minutes,
Really?
3 minute waits. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wasn't a problem.
Maybe it's just a regional thing then. I don't know. Because Lyft is always way cheaper.
Yeah.
And like Uber was absurd this weekend.
Yeah.
Like $60 to get from here to downtown
That's crazy.
when it used to be 15.
Yeah, that's really bad because we took a 30-minute ride from the airport to New Orleans, downtown New Orleans, and it was $35. And I would have expected the opposite, Cincinnati to be cheaper than New Orleans, but
Yeah. But there was also an event. It's not like, I mean, it's probably like $25
yeah,
usually, but
yeah,
Yeah, I
with
don't
an
mind.
event-
I don't mind if it goes up a little bit because there is an event, but not like times 4.
Right.
yeah.
You know, that's like crazy. Because I was checking during the Reds game. Matt and I were watching the Reds game here, which was like a 2:00 game. So I was checking like towards the end of the Reds game, just kind of trying to get an idea of how much it was going to cost. And it was like $20, $22. And then when the Reds game ended, it went like way up to like 50 something.
Yeah.
And then we were able to get a lift for like $27 or something, which I was like, okay, it's
It's not bad.
fine, I guess. The way home was a lot worse.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Even though we walked all the way to try to walk away from Oktoberfest because we thought maybe if we walk away from the crowd, it'll be a little cheaper. And we waited, and it was still like expensive as fuck. But
Yeah.
whatever. What are you gonna do?
Well,
I sure don't know.
welcome everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the 3-Step Flop. Your home for bad quarterback news and updates. My name is Gator Strand.
And I'm Tony DeLotel.
And with us today, we've got Abby Day.
Hello. I'm so honored to be here.
Abby.
My first podcast.
Yeah.
Honored to have
Ever.
How's it feel?
Feels great.
Good. We're excited to have you.
It's meant to do this.
I mean, you have. I think it's one of those things where if you've watched or listened to a lot of podcasts, you have an understanding of how to do it. And since we both have jobs where we can do that all day long, we have like the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours of
All day.
podcast listening, so you're already an expert without even
Right.
doing it.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it, at least.
I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't listen to enough podcasts
Yeah.
or pay attention to enough football, but here I am.
Well, but you also have the benefit of having done quite a few podcasts. I mean, I think we've done maybe 30 or so of these.
Yeah.
So and you were on a couple tip top fives, if the fans at home remember that podcast,
The Tip Top 5.
which was a wonderful podcast
It's
that I
great.
still go back and
We
listen
need to bring it back.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it was a little ahead of its time, and if it would have came out a few years later, back like when podcasts really exploded, then I wouldn't have to work the job that I work now. 'Cause
Exactly.
This actually would be a podcast studio.
Yeah. Well, I was down in New Orleans this weekend, and it was weird to be in a different football town, you know? And we were actually down there on a game day.
Oh, right.
But luckily we were outside of downtown, so we didn't have to deal with the traffic or anything. But we were in this little houseboat in the swamps, like, of New Orleans, and they had the Saints game up, and I'm watching Jameis Winston throw interception after interception, and I'm combing through the picks, and no one picked Jameis
Of
Winston
course.
because of how well he did during week 1.
'Cause somehow he actually played really well the first week.
Yeah, he had a
Yeah.
crazy week 1, and everyone was terrified to pick him. I think who
'Cause-
picked him week 1? FDQ?
Let's find out. Somebody definitely did.
I think that's why FDQ's in the hole right now.
It probably is. Abby is a big fan of Jameis Winston.
Are you?
He's a rapist. I watched a documentary on it. It's true.
There's a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't doubt
It's bad.
it. I mean,
And I can't believe people just watch him and they wear his jersey and I'm like, he's a rapist. What
Yeah.
are we doing?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's well documented on actually multiple occasions. I don't think you can say R word, but definitely sexually assault of an Uber driver. That also happened, where he grabbed an Uber driver's crotch.
How in the world
lack of a
would he
better
do
term.
And
that?
he yelled, grab him by the...
That was a separate incident. That was a college incident.
Yeah.
Which was effer right in the P word.
Yeah. Man, you have really toned down your language now that Abby's here.
Well, I know that the YouTube censorship rules tend to catch
Oh, okay.
certain words early in stream, so I'm trying to keep it PG for
Heard,
the first few
heard.
minutes. Yes, Alex did take Jameis Effer and the P word Winston in the first week, which was his nickname for Jameis, which is appropriate. So
Yeah, I'm trying to look up how many points. Yeah, that got him negative 20 points in
that's
week
not
1.
good. Not good.
How do you come back from that? If you're,
Well-
what do you say to Alex?
I would say of all weeks to get negative 20, the first week's the best one to get negative 20.
Because you were almost, well, no, you weren't right there with him. You
I
had
got, like,
negative
-2.
1.
Yeah.
Negative 1.8.
Which I was like, okay, I had the last pick. It could have gone worse than that.
Yeah, but how does Alex come back from that? What do you think?
Well, my strategy has always been just try to get like 14 points every week.
That's
Don't-
our average.
Don't do anything crazy. Don't be like, well, I just got down negative 20, so I need to do a Hail Mary and hope that the guy gets like 50 points this week, because you have 17 weeks now, or 18, however many weeks they have in the NFL now.
Yeah.
That you can come back. So there's no need to panic. Just keep taking the solid picks, your Ryan Fitzpatrick types, hammer
Well,
those home.
And unfortunately for him, he chose Daniel Jones week 2, which I thought was a solid
Great pick.
But it did not work out for him.
No.
He got negative 1 in week 2.
I might as well just pull up the standings, I guess, just so in case people aren't aware.
Yeah, I feel bad for him because Daniel Jones was like my number 1 pick if I had the opportunity, and it did not work out for him.
Yeah.
I think that's just a bad break on his part there, both weeks.
Daniel Jones has always been like a very solid choice, so you can't fault Alex for that one.
Yeah.
There you go. There's our standings. Yeah. While we have the standings up, might as well mention that the two hosts of the tip top 5, the two hosts of the 3-step flop are atop the standings this year after 2 weeks, which
It's like we know what we're doing.
I don't know. I think that maybe that says something about being in front of a mic. It gives you some semblance of the ability to play well in fantasy football. I don't know what that's worth, but
I tell you what,
it's something.
I was really upset when Aaron won last year. And I'm taking it very, very seriously this year.
Why? Well, he was your rival last year, if I
He's
remember
my rival
correctly.
every year.
Yeah, every year he's
Every
your
year.
rival.
And him winning, that was the first time he ever beat me in the league. And I'm taking it very seriously. I have a separate spreadsheet. Lots of formulas.
A separate spreadsheet that's like a private spreadsheet?
Yeah. Above the draft value one that I send out, there's a separate spreadsheet. I went ahead and put in the weekly matchups every single week for the rest of the year. And then
what teams are in what quarterback?
Yeah, and then it references this page, and I can change the starting quarterback by week. And I go back and I highlight the defenses that I think are really good. I highlight the quarterbacks that scored above 20 points. I highlight the quarterbacks that scored above the average. I'm trying to pay attention.
So this is purely because you don't want to get beat by Aaron again.
That is my number one driving factor.
Would you rather finish in?
Yes.
Would you rather win? Would you rather come in second in the league to someone not named Aaron, or no? Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Would you rather come in second in the league and Aaron win the league, or would you rather come in ninth and be above Aaron?
Come in ninth and be above Aaron. Absolutely. If I'm not winning,
okay, you want to tear him down.
I want to be above Aaron.
I gotcha. So it's really more vengeance than anything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not winning, I have one other goal, and that's to beat Aaron. And that's all that matters.
I think you have to have a lot of goals in this life.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
Abby, thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tony, what's your strategy this year?
Well, every year since we started this, I've kept up less and less with current events in football. In the first year we were in this, I pretty much knew. I definitely knew every starting quarterback for every team, which sounds like a really low bar for being in this league. But I definitely don't know. I know probably 40% of this, maybe not even that. I don't know. There's been a lot of new quarterbacks. So I fear that I'm going to be drawn to names that I recognize, which is going to hurt me because I'm going to be scared of names I don't recognize. Now, that being said, I took Zach Wilson last week, a guy who I never heard of, and it worked out great.
Yeah.
And I took him only because I looked at his picture and I was like, that guy's going to be bad. And he scored a lot of points for me.
Well, and week 1, he actually didn't score that many points.
Yeah, that kind of scared me a little bit.
Cam picked him, and he scored a decent amount of points. He actually scored a lot better than the rest of the league. He had well, you know what? Cam picked him, right? Yeah, he actually had 19 points. So yeah,
okay,
that's pretty good.
Well, even in the Yahoo write-up, it was like, when Zach Wilson has time to throw, he could be a superstar or something like that. And I was like, okay, that's kind of scary because he was like the second pick in the draft, so it was a little scary. But it's Bill Belichick. I mean, he knows how to game plan.
That's not Bill.
The playing the Patriots,
the opposing team. Yeah.
So he knows how to, especially with young quarterbacks. I feel like he knows how to just break their will.
Yeah. And
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
so.
I think Zach Wilson against any moderately good defense is going to be a good pick this year.
Mm-hmm. What other notable? And who else scored big? You scored big. Taylor with a big 24-pointer.
That came in the last 8 minutes of the game.
She had garbage time?
No, it wasn't even garbage time. She had like 0.5 points going into the last 8 minutes of the game. And then Matt Ryan threw 2 pick sixes in the last 8 minutes of the game.
That's huge.
To give her 24 points.
So Matt Ryan was really looking out for Taylor on Sunday.
And Matt Ryan was the top undrafted in week 1, too. Mm-hmm. So maybe this year Matt Ryan is going to be a good pick.
To bad quarterback relevance.
And I think that goes to what we've been saying this whole time in this podcast is you got to pick people who throw the ball.
Yes.
Even if they're big names like Matt Ryan, that was part of my strategy this week. Is I was at the very last pick. Trevor Lawrence did not do well week 1, and I know Urban Meyer's going to let him throw it. So that's why I went with him week 2, and it worked out.
Well, it's similar to a few years ago with Carson Palmer towards the end of his career. They would just have him throw the ball 55 times a game. So he would rack up like 25 incompletions a game.
Yeah.
And that would give you a nice like base layer and just hope that he throws a pick or two, and then you're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
So that's a great strategy as well. You don't want to pick guys, in my opinion, like Andy Dalton for the Bears right now, who's just throwing 5-yard flat routes every single time. He's dumping off. They're never taking a shot deep. He's just not going to throw enough incompletions and not throw the ball enough to be relevant.
I mean, he was my first pick week 1. He got me 20-something points. But
Well, I'm just saying my strategy. You can have a different strategy.
I didn't pick him this week.
Yeah.
Because, well, one, because Aaron picked him, which I think is funny because week 1, Aaron didn't pick Andy because he couldn't do it because he was a former Bengal.
He gave
And
up
then
on
week
that pretty
2,
quick.
he picked him because he was playing against the Bengals.
The dichotomy of man, they say. Duality of man, not dichotomy.
I think Brian recognizes the Cincinnati bias a lot, and he's able to capitalize on that and pick Cincinnati quarterbacks when a lot of us are afraid to pick them.
Yeah.
I think people are afraid to pick Joe Burrow.
Definitely.
And this week he was the top undrafted quarterback.
And on the flip side, I think Aaron loves to pick Baker Mayfield because he hates the Browns.
Exactly.
So that works against him sometimes.
Exactly.
Abby watched a fair amount of the Bengals game on Sunday at my parents' house.
Huh.
What did you think about
What
the
were your
game?
thoughts?
Which part?
Mostly like I would say, what did you think about the atmosphere in the Deal Towel house during the Bengals game?
I'm always a little frightened.
You're a little frightened.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you said mommy's a little frightened. And I was
Yeah,
like,
mommy's also
Did you
frightened.
call yourself mommy? That's what I thought.
Yeah. It is a bit frightening. What would you say?
You never know what's going to be said or what kind of noises are going to be coming out of people's mouths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's the loudest?
Why don't you guess?
Can't say.
Here's the people who were there. My parents, my sister and her husband, Andy, and Matt and John.
And the
us
babies.
two, and
It's
the babies.
between your dad and John.
Okay.
I'm going to go with your dad.
That would be incorrect.
Your John?
It would be former Bad Quarterback League member John DiLotello,
John.
who tends to really have, I would say, aggressive bursts of things coming out of his mouth.
Demons coming out.
Yeah, just expelling things. When good things happen, when bad things happen, when in between things happen, it's jarring when you're in the middle of a conversation and you just hear.
Or eating your sloppy Joe.
Yeah, or eating a sloppy Joe.
It's quite startling.
Right, someone's yelling. But it was I felt a little muted, sort of. It was more muted this week, I think. People were a little
There was a baby present.
Yeah, that's true. Baby
throw
Charlie
her
was
off.
there. So it's hard you don't want to yell in her face or anything. There was a period of time for a solid half a quarter where John was holding baby Charlie, which that means he's not going to yell.
Yeah,
That's the trick.
That's good.
Give him baby Charlie.
Yeah, if you just give him the baby, then he won't yell. Maybe
Yeah.
we should employ that more because I think that would probably work.
That's a good idea.
But I will say, since becoming, I used to call myself a diehard Bengals fan, and then I went from that to being like don't care, not even a fan. I think I'm creeping slightly back towards like the very, very casual Bengals fan.
It's hard not to be this year.
And well, let me just explain. Don't freak out. It's okay. What I'm saying is I was watching the game, like I was there watching the game, not like glued to the TV, but aware of what was going on, watching most plays and wanting them to win. I want them to win because I know that my dad is such a huge fan and I want him to experience the Bengals winning. But then when they lost, I was like, okay, back to the thing we were doing. And that felt great.
Yeah.
It felt really nice to be like, well, I want them to win. And then, Joe Burrow throws 3 interceptions in 3 consecutive plays. Oh, yeah, I don't care about this anymore. Yeah. And I was like, oh, now I understand
Did
casual
he really
fandom.
throw 3 interceptions in 3 consecutive plays?
I believe so. I know he threw 2 interceptions on 2 consecutive plays because he hadn't thrown an interception in like so many attempts. Like
because his leg was broken.
No.
Okay, got
not
it.
it was like this many attempts without a pick. It was something like 200 pass attempts or something, and then he hadn't, and then he threw 2 in a row, and he might have thrown a third one in a row.
He threw 3 that day.
We might have to check the tape. I'm not sure if it was in a row, but I know 2 were in a row. So after that happened, I was like, okay, well, and then
So even after that, do you ever see yourself picking Joe Burrow?
I definitely could. Yeah, I'm not like Bengal bias against picking Joe Burrow. I thought about picking him this week, but having the first pick, I felt like I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
pick him first pick.
I'm scared to pick him, and
Yeah.
I don't even have like Bengals bias, but I'm afraid to pick him.
Yeah, I think he has I mean, he's clearly like super athletic and has a tendency to burn you big time on like. I mean, they have Jamar Chase now.
Yeah,
who's like they could hit deep ball touchdowns, like you get that 40+ yard touchdown bonus that's going to go against you. That could be bad.
But that's how you rack up points. The people who throw the ball,
Yeah, that's true.
If they're handing the ball off, they're not going to score you any points.
Well, that's so. Here's a more like actual football advice / technical breakdown. From what I've seen of the Bengals offense 2 games in, they are conservative as hell, and they don't take any chances. They just run the ball on 1st and 2nd down and then throw a short pass on 3rd down. The only reason they throw deep is because Burrow like audibles out of the play they called, and he's like, go deep, and they throw deep. So if they continue to be conservative, he might not be as good of a take, especially if they can be conservative and score a lot of points and then just sit back and run the ball for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He's not a guy I would target for sure. I think there's a lot of other guys that would be better.
That's good advice. Let's go into Drew sent out a message today. There were a lot of injuries last week, so we're gonna have a lot of new starters. I'll just read Drew's message here. Brissett, Mills, and Fields are all confirmed starters.
Who?
That's
The third one?
Fields for the Bears. Justin Fields.
Oh, okay.
Former
okay. Fields.
OSU quarterback.
Gotcha.
Jacoby Brissett for the Dolphins and Davis Mills for Houston.
Never heard of him.
I want to say Houston. I can check that real quick.
Davis Mills?
I want to say it's
Is that a
Davis
cereal
Mills
brand?
for Houston.
Nice.
Jacoby Brissett was top undrafted last week, but he wasn't even a starter. He came in after an injury and still became one of the top undrafted last week, so I think that says a lot.
Well, back when he was a starter for a short time there, he was a good pick most of the time. Although he has got some legs. He can run a little bit.
I think Davis Mills, he was up there. He wasn't top 3, but he was up there for coming in after an injured Tyrod Taylor. I think he's going to be a good pick. I don't think he's very good. And Justin Fields is a rookie for the Bears.
Right.
He needs more reps for sure.
Also can run.
And then, according to Drew, Eason, I don't even know who that is, and Rudolph are possibles. So there could be 5 brand new quarterbacks this week.
This is like, I don't know how to react because I don't know who any of these fucking guys are, but I suppose that's a good thing.
It's good for us because we're going to be at the bottom this week.
Oh, yeah, that's good. The more the merrier, especially for us, is that we can make up that disparity, especially since my draft value rating is not great right now because I had first pick, so it's hard to like get draft value,
It is.
And I had last pick and did bad, so it's really not been great for me. But I think draft value scales. It's a better stat over a longer period of time.
For
yeah,
sure.
you can't look week to week because that's not going to tell you much.
Let me see what your draft value is. Yeah, you're only sitting at 2 right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem good.
It's not good. 2's not good.
It's a long term.
It's in the positive, which is good because you can definitely get negative.
Oh yeah, Aaron's sitting at a -11.
Yeah, that's not great.
Right now.
Oof.
That's not good
And
at all.
same with Alex. He's also sitting at -11.
So the draft value, just for you and for the viewers at home
Yeah,
that
let's
don't
remind
know,
everybody.
you can explain it, Gator, since you created it.
Sure. So it's a statistic made by Gator Metrics. The point is the lower you are in the draft, the more potential you have for draft value points. So if you're sitting at the 10th spot in the draft and you end up doing better than the person above you, you're only going to get 1 draft value point. You're only going to move up 1 spot. But if you're in the 10th spot and you draft better than everybody, you're going to get 10 points. Now, if you're if you draft first, you can lose 10 points because ideally, if you're the first draft, you should be able to pick the best player. So you have the most potential to pick the best person. So it's all about who is the best at drafting when you're stuck at the bottom.
Yeah. And we've often seen that Gators stat has lined up pretty well with how the standings end at the end of the season.
It does
not perfectly,
Yeah.
but for the most part, if you're at the top of the draft value leaderboard, then you're probably going to be in the contention to win it. So
top 3, top 4, somewhere around
so
there.
it's a very good advanced metric when it comes to
Thank you,
bad
Tony.
quarterback league.
Thank you.
Maybe the only advanced metric that we have.
We only have the one. Yeah.
The rest of you are free to make your own metrics, but much like our podcast viewership, there's not many people jumping out in front to participate.
I think top undrafted is something that people don't pay attention enough to.
Because it's hard to over a long period of time remember what they are. Like you can look at it after the games on Sunday and be like, huh, cool. And then you just forget the next week.
Right.
Like you don't really go back and reference it. There's no easy place to look for it. If we would have branded our podcast better and had a website and did all that, it might be more accessible. But as far as I'm concerned, that makes it easier for those of us that are willing to go find that information out.
Yeah.
Which some of us in this league probably not so much.
I just think year after year we run into the same issues, and I'm trying to combat that this year for myself. Is we are so ready to pick the rookies and ready to pick the people who we think are actually bad quarterbacks instead of taking risks and choosing the Matt Ryans, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was week 1.
Right.
Like, I mean, I don't recommend picking Aaron Rodgers, but like
it would have worked out.
You gotta really look into it and be able to go for it when you're the 9th or 10th person in the draft and just pick someone who might not work out.
And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, I think ever since he's started dating that actress, what's her name?
Shailene
Woodley, yeah.
It's her fault.
I think ever since that happened.
I disagree.
What do you think?
I think it's since he started hosting Jeopardy.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that.
Pick him the week he's hosting Jeopardy.
Is he still hosting Jeopardy?
No.
That I don't know.
Oh.
He just did it he was like one of the guest hosts.
Yeah.
But he said he wanted to do it full time.
Yeah, I think.
Did he?
I think
He
he was
did.
looking for like a way out of playing football. He's like, I'm dating this actress. We're both super rich. I've been playing football for so long and getting beat up. Like, I could just make millions hosting Jeopardy where we shoot, I don't know, what do they shoot? Like a whole bunch of episodes in a row and then like you get all this time off.
Yeah.
I guess is how they do it. That's way better gig than playing quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
He also just looks, I saw him on the Pat McAfee podcast. He looks old.
Looks tired.
Like, he looks old and weathered from a career of getting hit by dudes way bigger than him.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's old in football terms, like I guess late 30s, but he looks 50. Like there's like lines.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's tired.
And I think the long hair makes him look even worse, like more homeless kind of.
So do you pick Aaron Rodgers this year?
I'm way more willing to pick him for the Jeopardy thing, for the Shailene Woodley thing, and for the looking like a homeless person thing.
Who's your when you see a defense come up, you're like, yeah, I'm picking that quarterback. No matter who.
Literally couldn't tell you, because this is like how my NBA knowledge is like confined to like 2003 to 2006. My NFL defense knowledge is confined to like 2012 to 2015. So I just think all the teams that were good at defense at that time are good now, like Buffalo and Pittsburgh, and they must be good because they've always been good. I have no idea if they're good or not.
So I'm just basing it off of these first 2 weeks. And that's it. But the Broncos have done well, both week 1, week 2. Week 1, who did they have? They had Daniel Jones, who did all right week 1, and then week 2, Trevor Lawrence, who did great week 2. So the Broncos look great, the Saints look great, and the Rams look great.
And the Rams look great. From a uniform perspective, I might add.
Yeah.
I think they have the best looking uniforms in the league.
They do look
I love
good.
that like electric blue with the yellow, like it's very Pikachu inspired.
Yeah. Now their quarterback's Matt Stafford, and no one's picked Matt Stafford yet this year.
I forgot he existed because
Yeah.
he's not on the Lions anymore. So I was like, who
Which
cares?
I think it's been a good choice. Matt Stafford has done fairly well.
Yeah.
But he used to be a mid-ground staple.
He got picked a lot for sure.
Yeah, he was the 7th, spot.
And the Lions were always so bad, so it was like
Right.
easy pick.
Yeah,
And their
so-
offensive line sucked.
But people are avoiding him for sure.
Yeah, I think Stafford, I don't know. I don't know if the Rams are supposed to be good this year. Do you know? Seems like they are.
Defensive wise, definitely they're in the top 5 rankings every week so far. I don't know about offensively,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Well, I think I'll just keep continuing to pick guys who I don't recognize their name. I think that's going to work out for me. So that's my strat. I'm letting everybody know the strategy.
Yeah.
So come for me.
My strategy is focusing on the defense that they're going up against more than the quarterback itself.
I would
think
say that's probably a better strategy than mine, but that requires a lot more effort than mine. So
not much more, just a
it
little bit.
requires more effort than me saying, "Yeah, I don't know that guy." Pick.
Yeah.
And that's kind of effort I'm
Well,
looking for.
I don't know how you do it. You somehow find 40-point weeks every year,
Mm-hmm.
more than anybody else.
And
does.
sometimes I leave them on my bench and I still
Yeah.
turn out okay.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen this year because we made a new rule about
You want
that.
to talk about the old formatting,
Yes.
the new formatting?
So that's probably a good segue into our points or our rules conversation. Before we get into it, I will just say thank you to everyone who voted for reverting back to the OG bad quarterback rules of getting rid of head-to-head scoring and going total points, and one quarterback per roster per week, one draft pick a week, one round a week. Great changes. Thank you, Brian, for embracing the democratic process and allowing
Yeah.
that to run its course. And I say all this because I think all of these things benefit me personally, and that's really all I think about when I'm voting
I'm a
for
big
these
fan.
things.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I think the reason we loved this league so much is just the simplicity of it and how easy it is. And it's easy for us. It's not as easy for Brian, but how easy it is to just pick one name a week. It gives us an excuse to talk every week and come up with some fun nicknames, which we'll get to later.
Right.
But it gives us something to talk about every week, and all I got to worry about is one player and one defense, and I don't have to look at their bye weeks multiple weeks in advance. And I understand why we made the change.
Me too.
Because FDQ's probably feeling pretty not motivated right now.
Because he's so far behind so early.
Right. But you proved last week that you can get a 40-point week and be right back in this.
Yeah.
And anyone can get a negative 20 week and drop right out of it. So,
especially now that one of the other rule changes is that you can't bench your quarterback at all, whether it's
yes.
on accident or on purpose.
That's a
you
good
have
point.
to play the guy that you drafted, meaning people who are way ahead, who are at the bottom of the draft, are going to have to pick quarterbacks they're not that confident in, and they could end up with negative points, which again allows people who are far behind to come back. And we've seen it happen before. We've seen 8-9 weeks into the season, somebody way behind climb after a couple good weeks in a row. If you get discouraged because you're so far behind, personally, I think that's a you problem.
Yeah.
So get good is what I would say.
I think that's a
Great advice.
Yeah, I think so. And
I
a
think
lot
that's
of
a good point.
parts of life, I think, is probably good advice.
And I think people got discouraged even in the head-to-head situation. I think people...
Yeah. Well, what's more discouraging than scoring the second most points that week and losing to the guy who scored the first most?
Right.
And then those points are just wiped off the board and you get a loss for that.
Right.
Which is something I've always hated about a standard fantasy league, is how head-to-head scoring just totally adds this element of luck and randomness into it. Because it's not like your guys are playing against those guys. Like, they're playing against all different guys. So your scores are independent of each other. So why are they against each other? It makes no sense.
Right.
But that's an unpopular opinion, I think, in most fantasy circles, which is why I got out of all of them. And this is the only
That's
one
why
I'm
this
in.
league is great. You
Yeah.
just 1 week at a time. That's all that matters.
What do you think?
We'll
I
get-
don't.
Well,
I have no idea what you're talking
Yeah, let's
about.
get Abby in
we're
this.
gonna need your opinion on this next segment because, as we've explained previously, I think every week it's actually built into the rules. You have to give your quarterback a nickname when you draft them. So when you announce your pick, there has to be a nickname involved. If you don't give a nickname, then we reject the pick. It's rejected.
If
So-
you don't give a nickname.
Yeah, if you just say, "Oh, I'm picking Andy Dalton this week," and you don't give a nickname, then we say, "No, you have to give a nickname."
So
So-
your nickname can't even be Andy Dalton.
I guess technically it could, like, if you want to say, "I pick Andy Dalton," you could
Got
do
it.
that, but everyone will not like that, and you might get voted out of the league at the end of the
Of
year.
course.
We saw that happen to John because he never picked his quarterback, and he auto drafted so many times that we kicked him out of the league because we had to come up with a nickname. Brian, because Brian was the guy who was facilitating the draft. Not only did he have to come up with a nickname for his player, but he had to come up with one for John's player too because he auto drafted every week. So the nicknames are important. Everybody looks forward to seeing what everybody's nickname is going to be. It gets very difficult because the same guys are getting picked every week, and you can't repeat a nickname,
You're not
or
supposed
people
to.
will call you out and get mad at you and
Aaron
make you feel
tried
bad.
week 2.
Yeah, week 2, Aaron repeated a nickname, which is kind of embarrassing. So
It's unacceptable.
it is secondary to the point totals, but I think people really care about the nicknames and they want creative, fun, interesting nicknames for all the quarterbacks. So we thought it'd be fun for you to review the nicknames that were given in week 2, and you can tell us which ones you thought were good, which ones you thought were
Okay.
bad.
I don't want to see whose they are. So
Okay.
I'll cover
Oh,
that.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you just
'Cause
read that.
I'll-
That's a good idea.
Good
Okay.
Yeah,
idea.
maybe I'll have some
So-
bias against for Taylor, Lauren, and Marianne.
Right,
So-
exactly.
Okay,
So
okay.
how
Might not.
should you read them one by one? How should we do this? Like,
Yeah.
and then you can just tell us your reaction to it, and then you give us your
Well,
favorite.
here's the question: do I have to know anything about football?
No, this is purely like based on wordplay or
Like their name, like a pun on their name, or just like it has to. The nickname has to be like they're bad. Like it has to.
yeah. It's something that makes them like a
negative
middle
nickname.
schooler might tease them about,
Yeah.
or like it's
Gotcha.
supposed to like. It's not supposed to be like making them sound cool or good. It's supposed to make them sound bad and
Yeah.
dumb.
Now sometimes it does matter. Like the player does matter. Like Andy Dalton often gets like red hair jokes or something. You know.
But there's not too
I don't
many
think,
of that.
I don't think there's any
yeah.
of that
Yeah.
this week. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Okay. Number 1. Should I say their actual name and then
Yeah, say their
Yeah,
name
'cause
first
I
and
don't
then
think
say
I'll
their
know who they
nickname with
are.
the name. Yeah.
Daniel Jones, aka Danny Dimebag Jones.
Okay. Oh God.
Is that good, do you think? Or
Danny Dimebag Jones.
Yeah.
what do you
Dimebag almost sounds punk.
Kinda
Good.
cool. I mean, they're-
yeah, you're a dime piece.
Right.
That's a compliment.
There was also a great guitarist whose nickname was Dimebag Darrell, who was murdered on stage. Not relevant, but
Well, then
So-
maybe that's murdered on stage. That's a bad
maybe
thing.
that's what it was.
right.
Yeah,
I bet that's
true.
what it is.
But it also kind of like immortalized him in a lot of ways. People were like, it took him too soon, like that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I don't
Okay,
know.
So we got Danny Dimebag Jones.
Okay, Dimebag.
Zach Wilson, aka Zach Blacked Wilson.
Now
Okay.
this might require some explanation.
Is he black?
No.
Oh.
yeah, you go ahead and explain
Okay,
this.
so there's a adult film website called blacked.com, which is a website where like really tiny little white girls like get gangbanged by like super muscular black dudes. It's called Blacked.
So Zach Blacked Wilson.
Got it.
Got
Is that your favorite site?
That's my only site.
Of course.
Yeah, that's the
Gator?
only one.
Never been. Never seen porn
I
in
have
my
the
life.
premium membership.
Never.
Any
heard of
thoughts on that nickname?
On the premium membership nickname?
Well, yeah.
No,
I'm just
Oh.
wanting your
Zach
reaction.
Zach Black Wilson.
Yeah.
I think it's creative. I think it's fun. I think you put a lot of thought into it. I wish I knew what it was
Okay.
before I heard that nickname.
Yeah. Okay.
Heard. Now, this one is Aaron's, but keep in mind he plagiarized this off week 1, and now I
Aaron.
shouldn't have told you it was
No,
Aaron,
it's okay.
but
It's not gonna.
but
win
it's
best
bottom
nickname anyway.
it's bottom of the list because he plagiarized it. Summer Shandy Andy Dalton
Aw, he does look summery. Looks very light.
plagiarized it, and I think he did it worse.
And I mean, if I could add, is being called Summer Shandy like a bad thing?
I mean,
People like them.
I said it week 1 because I do think it's a bad thing. Because
As a beer person.
as a beer person,
I just drank 2 summer shandies last night.
it's gross.
They're terrible
Because
out of a can.
is that even really a beer?
It's a
Like,
beer
isn't
mixed
just
with
a-
lemonade.
Yeah, you just
It's like a
poured
natty
some
light
sugar into
mixed
a
in
beer,
with
right?
lemonade.
Yeah, it's like do you want a beer but you don't really like the taste of beer? Here you go.
Right. Here's the
Yeah.
Summer Shandy. That was
Okay.
one. That was my first legal beer. Was a Leinenkugel.
You shouldn't tell any of
Summer
your
Shandy.
coworkers that.
Yeah. Well, they're all watching. So.
Every one of them.
Okay. Sam Darnold. Sam is not Darnold. I don't know if I.
Sam is not darn. No.
Darn old, like he's not old or
I don't know if I get that one.
Okay.
I don't know if I get it either.
Maybe
Sam-
it's darn old.
Sam
Maybe
is
he's not.
Sam
old.
is not,
Not old.
is not darn
Sound like
old.
Borat. When you're
That's
doing
what I was
that.
going for. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Matt Ryan or Matt try and do better.
Ooh. Okay.
You like
That's
that
competitive.
That's good.
That one's-
It
no,
rhymes.
Right.
Try,
Trying
Ryan.
Ryan. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I
okay.
get it, Tony.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay. This one's gonna need some explanation. Jared Goff or run it back Jared Goffle. Now the run it back is there because this person chose them in week 1 as well, so they chose them back to back weeks.
Got it.
So that's like not really part of the nickname.
Right. So Jared Goffle. Jared Goff. Awful. Okay, we get it.
Awful.
Awful.
Yeah.
Jared
Ooh.
Goffle.
Good job, guys.
What do you think about that one?
I think you could do a little better.
could do better.
Right?
Could do
Because
better.
it's not right when I heard it. I didn't think of awful. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It
I didn't hear it.
Didn't flow off the
Yeah.
tongue.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, this will require some explanation.
Yeah, I
as
don't
well.
even know if I
I can
understand
explain it. Why don't you say it first? I'll explain.
Tyrod the Iron Lung Taylor.
Okay. Now the reason why he is the Iron Lung
Oh, okay.
was because last season he was supposed to get some sort of like cortisone shot or some sort of medical procedure that required him getting a shot in like the rib area. And forget what team he was on. Do you remember last year? I don't know. But whatever team he was on, the medical person for that team shot the shot into his lung. So he missed like the entire season because that like fucked his lung up really bad.
Did they get fired?
I assume
Did
so.
they get
Probably.
killed?
I hope so. Not killed. I hope they didn't get killed.
That's terrible.
But that's why they called him the Iron
The
Lung.
Iron Lung. Yeah. I
Got
like that
it.
one.
Wow,
I think
that's
That's a
good.
good reference.
Yeah.
That's creative and
Especially
smart.
to an injury.
Right. It is an injury,
Yes.
but also I would say not his fault.
No, not his fault at all.
Which not that injuries are always your fault, but
Sometimes.
he wasn't even playing.
it's less funny that it was like a medical. It was like a doctor that did it. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
that's scary. That would scare me.
So you don't think it's funny?
No, it's still funny. It's definitely still funny.
Oh, this league is all about like pushing the limits on humor.
Yeah.
Like you get points for injuries, so we're all about the
like we want guys
Please
to get
injure
really
yourself.
hurt.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Carson Wentz, aka Carson Wentz in pain. Like
Ooh.
Wentz in pain.
Mm.
Right. That's good.
Okay.
Good job.
And then
You like
Thumbs
that one?
up.
this one's definitely been used before. This is an oldie but a goodie. Derek Carr. Derek, where's my car?
Yeah.
That one's been used, right?
That's great.
I think so. The problem with a name like Carr is it's just it's already a word, so it's
Yeah.
just easy to insert it into lots of things. It's hard
Yeah.
It rhymes with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
what it rhymes with because I might pick him and might want to use one of those rhymes.
Right.
But
I got one if you pick him.
tell me.
No.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, you
All
can
right.
help him out.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Good
and
idea.
then Trevor Lawrence and Trevor Sunshine Lawrence. And I think this one needs some explanation.
I think,
I think
so.
he just has long hair, like long light colored hair.
Like the quarterback from
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Oh, I think I knew. Does he look like a handsome brother?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sunshine.
He
Yeah.
does look like
Sunshine.
sunshine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of ugly.
So that's it. That's it. I can run back through them real quick, and then you can
So
give your
rapid
top.
fire here.
yeah,
top three,
rapid
okay.
fire. Let me refresh my brain.
Danny Dimebag Jones,
don't
Zach
know what's
Blacked Wilson, Summer Shandy Andy Dalton.
But we can't pick that.
Can't pick it. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's disqualified.
Sam is not Darnold.
We need some commenters. Let us know. On
Matt,
that one.
try and do better. Run it back, Jared Goffel. Tyrod, the Iron Lung Taylor. Carson Wentz in pain. Derek, where's my car? Trevor Sunshine Lawrence.
Oof.
I need your top three.
My top three. Not in any order.
In 3, 2, 1 order.
Oh, wait. Okay, three.
3, 2, 1 order.
I think. What are you listening to?
I'm just checking our audio levels. Don't worry about me.
I think Winston Payne.
Okay. 3.
Great creative. It does roll off the tongue.
Wait, that's your number 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carson Wentz in
I just
pain.
didn't hear what you
What's
said.
wrong with it?
No, nothing. I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
I'm tied between two.
For your top 2?
Yeah. I think what was that one? I
Oh,
forgot.
let me reveal what Carson Wentz in pain was. That was Marianne. So,
Aw.
Marianne, good
Love
choice.
you, Marianne.
Good choice.
2, Iron Lung. I
That
think
was-
it's great. I think you pushed the limits. I think you really went for it.
That was the Rankins.
Oh, good one. Good one, Brian and Lauren.
She's gonna pick all the girls.
Yeah.
I know. I gotta figure out which one's Taylor's.
If you pick Taylor's, that's like actually crazy.
Amazing.
And my top 3 girls are Taylor, Lauren, Marianne, in no specific order. I love
don't-
you guys.
Yeah, I don't think there are any other girls.
What was that first? Oh, Blacked. Because it made me think, and I love. Whose is it?
It's Tony's.
Tony, why are you watching that website?
I know. Okay. I don't watch that website. I'm just aware of the cultural relevance of it.
Do you have a subscription?
No, I don't have a description. I am not.
It's okay if you do. I just want to know.
I am under the age of 60, so I do not pay for pornography.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah.
You want to know what Taylor's was?
Yeah,
Matt, try and do better. I like that one.
it was close. I feel like
I would
if-
say
if
Taylor try and do better.
Oh, Anthony.
Shots fired.
I thought that
think.
was good. Worst one, Summer Shandy, Andy Dalton, because you stole it. Second worst one, Austin. We're gonna need an explanation on Sam is not Darnold.
Yeah, maybe Austin can clear that up for us. We'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Comment below.
Yeah, put
comment,
it in the comments.
like, and subscribe.
Great segue. Speaking of comments, Cam has been leaving a few comments.
Oh yeah.
He said, "Can we only talk Survivor?" I think was his favorite. That was back when we were
Hell
talking
yes,
Survivor.
Sam.
But he
Cam.
also said the audio is fine, except these people's voices aren't good. So
Oh.
that was a criticism that he had.
Including me.
He just said
Question
these
mark.
people, and I want to say, what do you mean these people?
Wow. That's
So
rough.
that's the peanut gallery right there. Our only
We'll see
viewer.
if Cam's invited
Thank
back.
you for your feedback
I
and
actually,
your candor.
yeah, I don't think since it says we have one viewer, but I'm pretty sure it's me. So I don't think
Yeah.
I think he actually left. So
Because our
Probably 'cause
voices
we
were
stopped
so
watching-
bad.
we
we stopped talking about
Survivor.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was really all he was here for. But that's okay. We don't. This is you can access it later. It's on YouTube. You don't have to watch it live.
Yeah.
People
People are busy.
And you can watch our Survivor podcast.
Yes,
Yeah,
coming
another-
soon
yeah.
to a computer phone near you.
I would love to do a Survivor podcast with you
We're
guys.
You know,
doing it. We're doing it.
I don't
I have a
know-
lot of thoughts. I have a lot of things to say.
But-
Football, I don't.
but here's
I
can't
actually do
participate.
have a lot of thoughts.
But here, okay. Here's what I would say. If you think about the logistics of a Survivor podcast, if you just watch one episode, how much can you really say? So you'd
I want
have
to
to
talk
do
about
like a whole
strategy.
season and then talk about the whole season.
No.
No. You got to talk about episodes, strategy, buffs.
What?
Jeff. What's Jeff
Buffs.
wearing?
Jeff's buff.
So
How did...
Jeff hasn't aged in forever.
Yeah.
It's true.
I think it can be broken down. What you would play next if you're this person, how you would handle it, how they messed up.
So you think you could do a weekly Survivor podcast that
Absolutely.
Quick.
that has a longer runtime than the episode itself?
No. I
So it'd be a
couldn't go-
shorter podcast.
Yeah, I couldn't go an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, I could.
I mean, maybe.
I'm sure we won't agree on things. We could argue.
Yeah,
That's
she's
true.
right.
Yeah.
Debate.
Discourse.
I will say the thing about Survivor I'm noticing as we're in season 3 now, I think the middle episodes are the most interesting. So like the very beginning, there's too many people that it's hard for them to really focus on a single person. So you don't really get to know these people that get voted
You don't love
off.
episode 1? That's always a great
Episode
episode.
one's fine. It's kind of cheesy at the start when they're like they have to get all this stuff on a boat and get to the
Oh
thing.
my god.
It's kind of lame.
We
but
would
like,
have a great podcast because I would hate you. I would disagree with everything you said.
So the reason why I think the game is better before the merger. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. The game is the best for me when I know all the characters after like a couple episodes, but before the merger happens because I like that they're separate and the one doesn't know what's going on with the other one. When they merge, it's like okay. I don't know. I kind of lose
But
interest.
that's why I like season 3 when they like.
They did a
Swap.
switcheroo.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I disagree. I think the merge is it's a huge point. It's a huge point that that later seasons the players are smarter and they know it's coming and they think about who's going to switch at the merger. You know, it's not just you don't just pagong it like in season 1
Love that verb.
and just eliminate the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Like when you watch all these together, you can see the seasons evolve, and seasons 1, 2, 3 are just so nice. Everyone's so nice and professional.
I
and
kind of
they're
like
just
that.
Okay, you're next.
Because they're dumb.
Because
I
they're
kinda
dumb.
like
They
it.
play
Like,
it dumb.
yeah.
I like the reason why I think I'm going to like the second season better than any other season is because the first season, everyone was too dumb. And like Rich was the only one that was actually playing the game. The second season, it was like, I'm going to try to play the game a little bit, but I kind of still want people to like me a little bit. And the people that wanted people to like them too
Was
much.
that Australia?
Yeah.
Is that Colby and Tina?
Yes. And the people that wanted everyone to like them, they did eventually lose because that wasn't really a
No,
viable
Colby
strategy.
and Tina were the two most liked players. What do you mean?
Hang on a second.
See, we're already diving into a
Yeah,
Survivor
maybe
podcast.
this would be better for the actual Survivor podcast. I guess what I'm trying to say is it seems like season 3 it went fully into right off the bat strategy. Like everything has to be like, well, if we do this, then we got to do this and this and this, and it's like I don't know. It seems a little like expected, I guess. I liked it when it was more fresh and like people didn't really know how to navigate it.
Like, I'm going to vote you off because you're next in alphabetical order.
Yeah, I
That
like
was
that better.
ridiculous.
Or
because-
pick a number 1 through 10.
Yeah.
And that's
That
how
was
it's going to happen.
ridiculous.
But I guess it did leave a cool moment when season 3 when the young people tried to like screw over the
Yeah.
old people and it just backfired so amazingly. That was cool.
Trust
so
me, dude. Just keep watching.
yeah.
Keep watching. Some of the best players in the game you haven't even seen them yet.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, but I also theorized with Abby that I think by season 8 or 9 I'm gonna be like I'm done.
just take a little break and come back.
No, but
Yeah.
like I'm done because it's a different show now.
Ugh.
Like it changed too much.
You're already close-minded. You're already close-minded.
What's the problem?
Get out. Back to
We're
the-
going to
back to the
pagong
podcast.
you.
Yeah, I've been pagonged in the first episode.
You're voted out.
Maybe a Survivor podcast would be more interesting than this.
It probably would.
Can we do like 3-step buff?
Three-step buff? I like that.
Okay.
Guys, weekly Survivor watch party.
That's
Followed by
That's a big commitment. Whew.
Survivor podcast.
Right after
I mean, realistically, no.
some late nights.
But
there.
that sounds great.
Yeah.
Just make sure you take notes.
You know
I don't
what?
want you to forget anything.
Yes. And what I really need is like, I don't want to buy any more equipment because I've bought way too much. This is ridiculous for a show that makes $0, like that I've invested this much money. But what I need is like a way to do like a more mobile podcast that's like easier to set up.
Yeah.
Because then it could move. Like I'm tied to my computer.
You definitely shouldn't buy any more equipment.
I'm definitely not. But if I could come up with a way to do that, I think we'd be in business. Because then we could go to different people's houses.
Right.
Wouldn't all have to be here. Make it easier for travel. These are the things I think about when I'm coming up with a podcast.
Right.
Is the logistical
Well,
part.
we're gonna do that. We're gonna bring Survivor podcast.
Yeah.
The 3-step buff. Coming at you.
The 3 buff flop.
The merge purge. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Pagong Wong.
The Pagong Wong. That's going on the list of good nicknames.
Copyright branding.
I think we've hit it pretty well. Maybe talk about like upcoming week. A little bit before we sign off here.
Yeah, what is there to talk about? You might have to help me out because I don't know who's playing who. I know the Bengals are playing the Steelers. That's the only matchup I'm aware of.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that matchup? I don't think I'm touching either of those.
I think those games are always dicey because you never know which Bengals are going to show up. They're in Pittsburgh, which makes me more willing to pick Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I'd rather pick someone else.
So, a couple matchups I have highlighted. The Saints are playing the Patriots, and the Saints are away. Jameis Winston is away.
Yeah, that could be a real shit show.
I think both quarterbacks are viable options. Mac Jones and Jameis Winston, I think, are both going to go next week.
Yeah.
Both great defenses, and Jameis Winston being away against
And
the
a
Patriots.
rapist.
Right,
and
that
a rapist.
counts against him.
I think
It's not gonna be good.
I think those are both great choices next week.
Although maybe him and Robert Kraft would get along since they're both kind of pervs.
Who's Robert Kraft?
The owner of the Patriots who got arrested for getting a fun massage.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's even
They
more
should
reason
hang
to
out.
pick Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach Wilson is going up against the Broncos, who have done great this year. I think he's the number one pick.
He's got to be in the running for number one.
Yeah. Who's got number one next week?
That would be
Brian
with Brian and Lauren.
I'll be surprised if the rankings don't take Zach Wilson number one.
I think you got to go Wilson. But good luck coming up with a better nickname than me.
Yeah, Abby already nominated.
Abby has
as
christened it
I'm so
number
mad.
one.
I'm so mad I picked you.
And then
Next time.
let's see, the Bucks against the Rams. I'm not picking Tom Brady against the Rams. You got to take a chance every now and then, and Tom Brady has shown up on the top undrafted every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
However, Matt Stafford, this might be the week to pick him if you're gonna pick him.
Yep, bring him back into the fold.
This might be the week to do it.
He's an old favorite.
Buccaneers.
Might as well get him in the action.
So those are my top picks. Those are my sleepers.
Your
with
picks
Matt
picks to
Stafford.
click.
Yeah,
as they say.
Yeah. And then we've got a ton of brand new quarterbacks coming in this week.
A bunch of guys who I hope I can learn the name of in the next few days before I
Yeah.
have to pick them. That's kind of my take on it. I need to do some research. Although maybe not doing research, maybe that's the strategy this year.
Yeah.
Don't let my biases cloud my judgment.
It's working for you.
It is.
So.
And now Zach Wilson, to me, will forever be tied to being a terrible quarterback. So if he ever wins the Super Bowl one day, I'll think, he's not that good.
He's not good.
It's really not. Remember that time he sucked against the Patriots? He's not that good.
I think he'll be the number one pick next week, and he's got to score the most points. I'll be surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that probably about wraps it up. I don't have
it does.
anything further. I will say, I can confidently say that the future episodes of this podcast will be a little bit more structured and prepared for, because Gator was far more prepared than I was, and that's on me. This was very thrown together. I hope to come
It
up
was
with
very
a
last minute.
better studio setup and a little more segments and interesting things to talk about. And we also encourage anyone else out there to bring their own segments, because
Yes.
those have always been my favorite part, is when someone brings a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
That is, I get excited about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Of course.
you can reference some of those on our YouTube channel. They've been cut down, especially Austin's wonderful 30-minute.
Austin does great.
Uh,
A great job.
It's actually really fun to watch now, because this was several years ago now. So you can listen to what he said about some of the guys who are coming out of college, which was his segment was who he thought were going to be the best bad quarterbacks while they were still in college. So that was like 3 or 4 years ago. So now we can reference
That's a
to see.
good point. I definitely want to look
Yeah,
through that.
that could be a segment in and of itself, is
Yeah.
reviewing Austin's predictions and seeing how well he did.
He definitely brought the most detailed segment.
Yeah,
Of
he
any
has,
guest so far.
and he has the most football knowledge of anybody, of course. So he's gonna have the more prepared segments when it comes to that. So.
Yeah. Abby, thank you for being our first guest.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was an honor.
We're
It's a
definitely going to
pleasure.
bring your segment back on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So
I think, you have to be a mainstay. We're not saying you have to sit here
The whole
time
time.
through all the football talk, but I think that could be a metric, is Abby's ranking of the nicknames. Like,
and then how well they do.
yes,
I like that.
Yeah, I just have to brush up on my porn website, I think, to be good at this.
yeah, that might be essential. I think those types of nicknames come
Yeah,
out
do some
frequently.
studying.
I'll do some
Yeah,
studying.
with a incognito tab, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for coming.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, Cam.
for watching.
We'll see you next week on the 3-Step Flop. My name is Gator Strand.
I'm Tony DeLatel.
Bye, y'all.